Hello, it's Peace Daddy with another lesson for you today. We are on the series known as the multiplication of binomials and trinomials. And today we're going to be working on a trinomial times a trinomial. If you're working at home and you don't have the Montessori materials with you, you can go to virtualmontessorimaterials.com and find the section labeled Bead Bars. virtualmontessorimaterials.com and find the section called Bead Bars, and you can do this work with me while you're at home. I do have the Montessori materials with me, so I'm going to lower the camera so that you can see them. And the first thing you see is we have a 100 square, and I'm going to use rubber bands to subdivide this 100 square into 9 parts. The parts are going to be a 3, a 2, 3 going across this way, 1, 2, 3, 2 this way, and then 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to do that horizontally as well as vertically. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then 5 at the bottom. So if you watched the previous lesson on a binomial times a trinomial, then we started out with 100 bars, so we're going to end with 100 as our answer. And that'll be the case here as well. We'll end up with 100 as our answer. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to lay out the 9 problems with colored bead bars, and we're going to keep in mind the different shapes that we have made by splitting this 100 square into the 9 different parts. We've made a square here, and there's a square in the middle, and there's a lot of rectangles. So let's start by laying out the 9 problems with the colored bead bars. The first one is 3 groups of 3. That's this section. The next section is going to be 3 groups of 2. It's this section, 3 groups of 2, 2, 2, and 2. And the last section is 3 groups of 5. So that's our first row, and then I'm going to make the second row. The second row is 2 groups of 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There's a group on the top and a group on the bottom. Two groups of 2, that's a 2 square is the other name of that. 2 groups of 2. And 2 groups of 5 is in the middle. There's a group of 5 here and a group of 5 here. In the last row, we have 5 3s. Five 2s. And 5 5s. 5 taken 5 times, or a 5 square. So if you're working from home, then you are going to be drawing this using colored pencils. And I'll give you a minute to do that, to catch up. And if you need more time, just pause the video. And you can also write these problems. So let's start writing them, beginning with the first row and the first problem, which is 3 groups of 3. You're going to add that 3 groups of 3 to 2 groups of 3. And then to that, you're going to add 5 groups of 3. It'll look like that. 3 groups of 3, 2 groups of 3, 5 groups of 3. 3 groups of 3, 2 groups of 3, 5 groups of 3. The next row is going to be 3 times 2 plus 2 times 2 plus 5 times 2. And it's important that you write it the right way. Notice that in the first row, each one has a 3, and the 3 is the multiplier. In the second row, they each have a 2, and the 2 is the multiplier. That's the number that comes second. The multiplicand comes first, the multiplier comes second. So what do you think is going to come second? In the last row, 5. So the first one is 3 times 5. The next one is 2 times 5. And then the last one is 5 groups of 5, that 5 squared that we talk about. So all of our bead bars, if we lay them out, they would look like this. This is a visual representation of our trinomial times our trinomial. And then this is a numerical representation of a trinomial times a trinomial. And now I'm going to solve for each little problem. So 3 times 3 makes 9. 2 times 3 is 6. And then 5 times 3 is 15. 3 times 2 in the second row now is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 times 2 is 10. Last row, 3 times 5 makes 15. 10, 2 times 5, and 25. So if I simplify this even more, 9 and 6 is 15, and 15 and 15 is 30. 6 and 4 is 10, and 10 and 10 is 20. And 15 and 10 is 25, and 25 plus 25 is 50, and 30 plus 20 plus 50 is 100. So we ended with what we started with, which is what we expected, and that is the conclusion of this section, the multiplication of binomials and trinomials. And this specific lesson has been a trinomial times a trinomial. And that's all I have for you today. As always, I want to say thank you for watching. This has been Peace Daddy. See you next time.